Hey everyone.
Ah. Hey everyone.
Hey everyone!
So we're feeding our faces, and we are going to. God, we didn't really talk about this before we did. before we did. But I'm joined here with this asshole.
That's me.
That's him. He just showed up for some reason.
Can't remove me now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
No!
All right, perfectly balanced as all things should be.
No, it's not true. I'm still here.
But yeah, we are here just bullshitting and eating, I guess.
Yeah, back at it again.
Back at it again. We watched Ahsoka, unfortunately.
Oh, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
It was the shortest episode, though.
It was. But it was also one of the stupidest episodes.
And felt the longest.
Yes.
I think it was, I'm trying to think, I think it was like 35 minutes. But
Yeah, I think so.
But if you cut out the recap and the end credits, I don't know, 25 to 27 minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just under a half hour, pretty much, this episode.
Right. So, yeah. I also watched The Equalizer 3. We'll get into that. Yeah. So, is there anything you want to get into before we get into Ahsoka?
Not really. I'm trying to think. I mean, anything Star Wars related is nothing really new.
Right. Well, I will say, Taylor Swift's been in the news pretty much everywhere. I don't know if you heard about that.
No. What happened there?
So, she's doing this whole Eras tour or whatever, and I guess now they are doing AMC's coming out with movies, like movie tickets. There are pre-sale tickets that are actually on. I think they're surpassing like big budget films. Like this is, I think they already surpassed The Force Awakens, which is awesome.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. So this is starting to become the biggest sale right now. This is the biggest box office hit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it, Taylor Swift. I think she sucks as a person, but I think that's really cool. And from what I understand, she had, because of her tour, she's been going to all these cities, and she's actually doing well for the economy, which is awesome. Like it's getting to be pretty big, and
I like the competition too in the entertainment business as a whole. You know what I mean?
And these are just pre-sales. Like, imagine people wanting to go and see it again. You know what I mean? So that's really cool. You'll never catch me going into the movie theater, especially when I know there are going to be a bunch of like teenage girls going to see this shit.
Yeah, all of our fans.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of cool because if you're a single parent or you're together with your spouse, it's kind of cool just to be like, yeah, I can't afford to take you to this Taylor Swift concert in California or wherever. So let's just go to the movies, get your friends together. That's kind of cool. But yeah, so that I found that quite interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that alternative, media when it comes to
Yeah.
entertainment. Like Eric July, all right, work on I Saw Him 2.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I Saw Him 1, I mean, he made, he puts it out on his website, he made a couple million, I think 3.5 million or something like that in revenue. You love to see it, because now we have a legit competitor in comic books, instead of just Marvel, DC. I mean, there's, a couple others, of course, but
Right.
it's
Well,
good to have more competition.
the thing is, I mean, with the Rippaverse, that's on track to be pretty big, and they don't seem to really want to. They don't seem to really want it to be as big as Marvel or DC, but it's
in his very first one. The very first issue he put out, I mean, again, it was a huge success. I mean, it looks to me like it's just up from here. You know? By someone signed.
Yep.
You know, big fans.
Yeah.
Gotta support.
I like what he's doing over there. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to check because I feel like the stream's fucking up. But yeah, a lot of success in different areas. So that's awesome.
We're all good.
Yeah, we're all good.
So you're stuck with us now.
Yeah. Can't get away from us.
Can't get away that easy.
But yeah, that's interesting.
But yeah, nothing really. Trying to think any new movies. I mean, I know besides Equalizer 3, nothing really that I can think of eventful.
I do want to talk about, because I found this very interesting. I brought it up to you before, but they just released Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on digital. You can buy this, rent it. I think you can only buy it. So what's interesting to me about this is every time, and actually the Insidious franchise is one I want to bring up for this case. So when Insidious the Red Door was, it had already come out, you could pre-order it, whatever. They updated their Insidious bundle to include that new movie. It had all them plus that new movie. And you had to wait, obviously, for it to release on digital.
But are you saying so the day it was available on digital,
it was available?
It was already in a bundle.
Yeah, if you bought that bundle, you could already watch the first 4 movies, and then when that movie released on digital, you would be able to watch that.
Okay.
So what I find interesting about this, and they Vudu, I don't know about anywhere else, but Vudu has always included the newest movie in their bundle if they're putting that bundle out there. Indiana Jones didn't do that.
Really?
Yeah. So
right now the bundle only has
the first 4 movies.
Huh.
You could it was right next to the bundle that you could buy the new movie, but it wasn't included in the bundle.
But I thought it was a major success.
It was a huge success.
Yeah, I thought they love it. They're proud of it.
Right.
Fantastic movie from what they say.
I could be wrong, but I think it does say on the website, at the top, it has the Indiana Jones graphic or whatever. Mm-hmm. And at the top it says all 4 movies, and then right next to it is just
this is the 5th one.
It's the fact that they are. It made me laugh because I'm like, do they really not count this one? They'll count Kingdom of Crystal Skull as an Indiana Jones movie, but not not this new one, the Dial of Destiny or whatever.
The Dial of Destiny, but yeah, well,
Dial of Disappointment.
Well, it's interesting because it's I mean, do they not count it? And if they do count it, do they just not put in the effort to update? I mean, why? Because again, they do it with every other one. I mean, even John Wick, right?
John Wick did that.
Right, updated right away. Yep. I'm trying to think of what else. Even Halloween, I think.
No, maybe not Halloween. I don't know about Halloween because they did discontinue the complete Blu-ray collection.
Oh no! I mean the newer. Just the trilogy of the newer ones.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah.
But see, I don't know actually. Because Halloween Ends came out it was in theaters, but it also came out on streaming the same day. So it's a little weird. I don't know how they would do that.
Yeah, I don't know. But regardless, I mean, it could be nothing. But I thought it was funny.
No, it's a major success.
It's a huge success.
People are saying it's arguably the best one.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's almost as good as the original, I think, or something. I don't know what they say. But
well, yeah, I mean, even the other ones, it fixes everything.
it does.
It's the best one.
It really is the best one.
And that pesky ending, to the fourth one where Indiana Jones was happy. Remember, he had a son, he got married.
Yeah, I never really like when I see Indiana Jones, especially when I remember as a kid watching the original 3 movies, and I remember the first movie that I watched was The Last Crusade. Loved that movie. My dad showed that to me for the first time, and I loved it. But the thing is, I always felt when watching those movies, especially as a kid, I was just like, there's something. It seems like Indiana Jones is too happy, right? It seems like he's having too much of a good time.
He's too happy,
right? So I'm glad they fixed it to where they could just completely write out his son. His son dies in the war, and he doesn't even join to impress his dad. He joins to piss him off.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. That was actually my favorite thing about the movie. On top of him, with the divorce papers, and also
the drinking problem,
right? And we got to see, he fixed himself an Irish coffee. That was great. I loved that at like 8 a.m.
Yelling at the neighbors because their music was too loud.
Right. I also another thing I really liked was him teaching this class and no one giving a fuck about the class. Unlike in all the other movies. That was great. I'm so glad they did that. Thank you, Disney. You are the saviors of
sarcasm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
it's just me trying to hold back the tears.
Yeah, just trying to cope as much as you can.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. I mean, everyone is in agreement. The first 3, fantastic, amazing, great. The fourth one, okay, yeah, it's a little silly. I mean, the crystal skull and the aliens, and yeah, it gets silly. But it still kind of keeps, to me at least, it keeps at least the character intact. And like I said, it's a happy ending. He gets married. He has a son. I think they ended it perfectly too, where his son picks up the hat. Remember, and he's like looking at it, and he's about to put it on, and Indy takes it, and it's like, nope, not today, Junior.
Not today.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then the fifth one, it's just like, what happened? Like he's just miserable. And it's like I don't want to see my hero miserable.
Right. And I don't know what it is. It just seems like.
And David did the same thing in The Flash with Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah.
Remember, he had like long hair, right? And he was all like dirty, and because I guess he solved crime, and he was bored, or I don't.
Yeah, he did his job, and then he just became a recluse.
Yeah. And it's just like it's like I don't want to see that,
But I mean, do you remember when Andy Muschietti, the director of The Flash, stated that movie would make us forget all the bad that Ezra Miller did?
Mm-hmm.
I totally forgot.
Totally.
Yeah, I forgot. I mean, what did he even do again?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was always weird when you watch that scene where he puts the baby in the microwave.
Yeah. If only you could just turn it on. I think the only thing that movie was missing was Ezra Miller just fucking going so fast. And you think he's, like, they don't even tell you why he's going so fast. The movie should have started out with him just running super fast, doing that stupid-ass run of his.
Oh, God.
And then, you see like a slow-mo shot of this woman slowly turning her head, and he's just like, BAM! I would have liked that. That would have been a 10 out of 10 for me.
KO! Well, see, Ezra Miller was so good, they decided to have 3 versions of him in that movie.
Oh, God. No.
3! Yeah, people were like, oh, Ezra's annoying. And they said, okay, let's give you a younger, more annoying version of Ezra Miller.
Right. Let's also...
Which makes you forget how terrible the original one is.
Let's also talk about how Henry Cavill was not really in the movie, but they CGI'd the fuck out of him. Let's also talk about...
horribly, too.
Christopher Reeve. That was great. I liked seeing Christopher Reeve. It totally wasn't disrespectful to the actor himself, even though he said he would never want to be subjected to anything like that.
Yeah. The movie was delayed so many times that they perfected the CGI.
Yes.
That's always good, you know. CGI looked
the CGI
something.
looked amazing.
Oh, yeah. Definitely couldn't tell that it was computer generated. Oh. Yeah, that Henry Cavill shot was terrible.
Yeah, it was hard.
And it sucks too because if I remember correctly, they were recreating the scene from Justice League, right, where he's like fighting the Justice League at first without a shirt, and they're like,
oh, kind of. It was like when he goes in between times, I guess, and he can actually see like all the images and stuff. Yeah, that was kind of it, but
because it's like, why not just use the actual shot?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, why even CGI it at all? Like, why not just use the actual shot of him? Just because, like I said, he pushes away, like in the Justice League movie, he pushes away all the members when they're like trying to hurt him or whatever. I think that was, I could be wrong. I think that was the same shot they were going for in the Flash movie with him.
That's what I'm thinking.
But it's like, again, they didn't use the shot.
Right.
I don't understand. They also had, they had Jay Garrick from the Flash TV show. So instead of, Grant Gustin, the guy who's played the Flash for like, let me think, 9 seasons, and he did a couple episodes in Arrow before season 1, so almost 10 years he's been the Flash. Didn't include him. Grant Gustin, no, don't include his cameo. But they included, I'm pretty sure they included, I forget the actor's name, you guys might know, but he played, quote-unquote, Jay Garrick in Season 2. I say quote-unquote because he was a villain. He actually wasn't Jay Garrick. But it's just hilarious to me that that's the guy that they decided to give they put a cameo in, but not Grant Gustin. Blows my mind.
Yeah, they made sure to have Ezra Miller in there.
And in fact, that actor, he actually didn't even tell him. They didn't even tell him that he was going to be in the movie. Because they actually did an interview with him where they asked him, like, what was it like being in the Flash movie? Did you like having the cameo? And he's like, I didn't even know I was going to be in it. They didn't tell me. Yeah.
Oh, so like he didn't even come in.
He didn't know, and I don't know, how the rights and things work, but I assume he didn't get paid if he didn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a complete shock to him.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know how they can get away with that. Right? Because, they would have to sign off on that to use... Because when you think about video games, right? If they do a movie tie-in, even if they decide to get a different voice actor, if they get someone random to voice their character, even though it's supposed to be based off of the movie, of a game, if they use that character's likeness... If they use the actor's likeness, like, they have to pay them for that. Which is why a lot of the time in video games, especially now, they have to change the facial, the way the character looks. So, it seems to me that's kind of what they did with the new Spider-Man, the new guy that's modeling for Spider-Man. Because once they changed that, I guess they couldn't reuse, because I guess he didn't want to do it anymore, or maybe they just didn't want to bring him back anymore. I don't know. But, I don't know how they can get away with that.
Yeah, I don't know how that works.
Because there's also talks of having someone come in and they CGI their faces to look like Stan Lee, and the family is supposed to be signing off on that. I don't know if that's gone through yet or not, but that's a plan they have. So they're going to be getting money for them essentially using a CGI version of Stan Lee.
No.
Which I think is disgusting, but yeah, I don't see how they can do that, especially if the actor's just like, yeah, I had no idea. I don't know.
Because, like, in Spider-Man No Way Home, right, who was it? It was, well, I guess the Lizard, right, and also kind of Sandman. They didn't really, well, no, I guess it did kind of bring them back. 'Cause I was going to say they were in the movie, but, like, they kind of used, like, a CGI'd, of course, Lizard and a CGI'd Sandman.
Yeah, the only
Like,
thing
didn't
is,
actually.
Thomas Hayden Church, who played Sandman, he actually had speaking lines.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
But I don't know about, I think his name is Reese Ifans, who played the Lizard. I think he's the only one that didn't actually want to come back. But I would like to think he at least knew that they were going to use him.
Because, yeah, I was going to say, I'm curious how that works. Like, I mean, I would assume he got paid. I have no idea, but I mean, I assume he'd get paid.
Right.
But then again, I don't know how it works. If they own the footage, in the previous movie, if they own the footage, like, does that, if they just reuse it, does it count?
Yeah, that's true. I guess, yeah. It's hard to say at that point, I guess, but.
So I was going to say, I don't know if you've seen the clip, but there's an old Comic-Con where someone asked Stan Lee, they were like, oh, what would how would you feel if Spider-Man was bisexual? And it was funny because he was, I mean, I don't want to say he wasn't, angry, obviously, but, like, he definitely was against it. He's like, that's not Spider-Man. He's like, what about MJ? What about,
Really?
Yeah. And say, I don't know if, you'll have to see the clip for yourself, but yeah, he was against it. He's like, no, Spider-Man's not bisexual. What is this? What are you talking about?
That's interesting.
So it's funny how everyone always says, oh, because Stan Lee's quote is, oh, anyone could be Spider-Man, right? Anyone can be behind the mask, including this and that. And it's like, kind of, like, the metaphor is there.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, Spider-Man is a distinct character. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, he does have a history,
Whoops. Yeah.
He does have a canon, a lore, like Peter Parker is an established character. It's kind of weird to try to change him,
Yeah, I mean...
Let's see if you can bring it up. That first one might actually be it. Sorry, I was trying to bring it up and say, because, yeah. See if we can...
Oh, God. See that. Okay. Let's see if we can bring this up here.
Yeah.
Share screen. God, we're so good at this.
Oh yeah, dude. Totally planned out.
Yes.
We're not at all just winging it.
Sure. Okay. See if this is coming. Oh God. Yeah. Absolutely professionals.
Yes.
Okay.
Professional.
So professional.
Is he becoming bisexual? come to a moment.
That's funny.
Yeah,
the
it's
fact that
funny.
he was just like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's what, and yeah, I mean that's a whole other discussion. But Marvel was very different, very distinctly different, I should say, from when Stan Lee was alive to after his passing.
Yep.
And I think that's an example that you can kind of see that, like, he, it's not that he doesn't like, it's not that he doesn't want any bisexual characters. Of course, that's not, I don't think, his intention, but it's just Spider-Man is written a particular way. This is the character of Spider-Man. You shouldn't really change that, I mean, of course, you could add stories, add villains, you could add, personal problems for him. Like, there's of course, add to the story, add to the mythos. But at the end of the day, Spider-Man is Spider-Man, right? Like, he's distinctly Peter Parker, and there's certain things about him that should pretty much stay the same. And I think you could see there that Stan Lee had a very heavy influence of keeping the characters, pretty much the same when you look at
keeping them as they are,
Yeah.
not changing them. I mean, it's clear he was open to different. I don't want to say different versions, but like new characters. He was open to new characters taking on the mantles, I guess. I don't think that was ever an issue for him. I remember there was a time when he was alive. He actually came out with a video. It was actually pretty sad. It was a few years before he passed, but he came out with this video saying, basically, I guess they were coming out saying he was racist because he might have said something. I don't even remember what it was for, but he came out with this video, and he just seemed so hurt that people would think that he was a racist, that he was this or that. And, he was just like, like, I don't know. It was kind of sad to watch, but yeah.
Rest in peace, Stan Lee.
Yep. But yeah, I guess.
Is now the time. I tried stalling. I don't want to get into. I'm really trying to avoid Star Wars here because it's, spoiler alert, it's miserable.
Yes, it is quite miserable. But yeah, let's talk Star Wars.
Yay!
So you watched Ahsoka.
I have.
I did not.
You have not.
I'm just kidding. No, I haven't.
I was going to say, lucky you.
Unfortunately, I did. So what did you think? What were your initial thoughts? Did you love it? Did you hate it?
Hated it. Yeah,
Good.
yeah.
That's good.
I found it really boring. It was, like we said earlier, about 30 minutes. I think it's 35 minutes, but if you cut out the recap, cut out like credits, about 30 minutes of actual like content, and it was just nothing. It was nonsense. It was literally, I mean, I think like out of 30 minutes, like 29 and a half of them were them in one chase, like one fight scene in space, flying around, trying to get away. I was just so bored. After a few minutes, I was like, all right, come on, how long are we going to have this,
Yeah.
Especially when it wasn't even like, in other Star Wars movies, when they have, those kind of fights and stuff, like, it's epic. There's a lot going on, a lot. Versus this show, I should say, it was literally just like, I don't know, it was Ahsoka's ship and maybe like 3 other ships chasing her the whole time. It was just so boring. I was like, come on, eventually you're going to either lose them or get them or something. But something's got to happen,
Yeah, I mean...
So yeah, well, before we get into it, what did you think? Overall.
I hated it. It was just so... It was very uninteresting. And you can tell Dave Filoni is more experienced with animation. Because a lot of this stuff, it's like... It would have translated... There's one part in particular, and we will get into it when we go into the spoilers. And honestly, I don't care I don't care about spoiling this piece of shit because I was going to be nice and put spoilers up. I don't fucking give a shit. No one should be watching this. I don't think half of you even care anyway. So, anyway.
Yeah, if anything, we're saving them.
Right. So, there's one part in particular before we do get into spoilers. It just felt like, yes, this could be translated better in animation. Either way, I still think it's stupid, but it looks even worse when it's live action.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
So,
that's the thing. In animation, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of easier to direct. You know, you obviously draw the faces and, you know, as far as voice acting, you know, I don't know, I think it's easier to direct. You could be a little bit more, I don't know, silly, I guess is the word. Yeah, thanks. I should say silly, but you could be a little more animated about it, for lack of a better word. The live action, it's like, there's a lot of nuance to it. You know, you need to have, it's not just about how you say things, it's, you know, your facial expressions, your body language. I think there's a lot more nuance to live action when it comes to directing that I don't know if Dave Filoni's good at. Thanks.
yeah, I mean, the thing is, Dave Filoni just seems to really want Ahsoka to be in everything. And the fact that they're using Thrawn as like a story for her when that should be Luke, it's kind of insulting, especially when we know Luke's out there. We know what Luke's doing. It's frustrating. It actually makes me angry.
And just so Ahsoka takes place after Boba Fett, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So Grogu already left the Jedi training and stuff.
Yeah, Grogu already left at that point.
Right. This is after even Mandalorian season 3.
I think
this is after everything.
I think this is actually around the same time that Mandalorian 3 takes place. Season 3 takes place.
Okay.
I think that's what I heard. But at the same time, I don't think they necessarily know, right?
Yeah.
Because they say several years after what, the fall of the Empire.
They do. Yeah, like several years. It's like, why don't you give it the number?
Right. And, you know, I think when they were talking about I think season 3 of The Mandalorian or something, I don't know, Jon Favreau said that either Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni said something about like, oh, this takes place 0 to 5 years.
Oh, yeah, Jon Favreau.
Was it Jon Favreau?
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
0 to 5 years after Return of the Jedi. And it's like, really?
So it's like, which one? Like, that's a 5-year gap. Like, which one?
That's a 5-year gap. So it's clear that they don't even know. But, yeah.
Well, see, a story group is supposed to keep that stuff like on track.
Yeah.
But you know, who cares about canon?
Right.
Right? Who cares? It's all fake.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the head of the story group said, by the way.
Yeah.
Literally, the head of the one guy who's supposed to keep all of the canon and lore, you know, intact and like, you know, keep it all flowing and make sense. The one guy, he says, "Why? Who cares? It's all fake. Who cares what's canon?"
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The fact that we're just at this point because I think people want to know because, you know, there are people who want to watch this stuff chronologically and see how everything fits, and you're just telling them, you yourselves are telling us, I don't care. You know? So if these people don't care, then why should any of us care?
That's what I mean. It's like, if they can't put in the effort to figure out when this takes place, why should I then?
Right. But that's the thing. I think it's more or less they don't want to give a definitive timeline because they don't want people to be like, okay, well, if this happens in this certain point of time, then we can't have certain characters cross over, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think that's what they want. They want these characters to cross over as much as possible because that's the only thing that sells at this point. So they'll reuse characters that people already love, such as Luke, such as much as I hate to admit it, Baby Yoda. But the thing is, if you give us a definitive timeline, then it's going to be like, okay, well, if this happens at such and such time, then why is this person here when they should be over here? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of it is that too, because they don't want to have those sort of continuity errors, and it just
if you keep it general, then you don't ever contradict. You
right.
can always have like a
zero.
scapegoat.
A lot can happen in 0 to 5 years, right? So it's like if it's all happening, in a 5 years span, well, whatever. You can just do whatever. No one's going to question it. Several years. This Ahsoka takes place several years after the Empire fell. Okay, maybe you want to tell us 5 years. Maybe you want to tell us 2 years.
I mean, especially since it was a galactic empire, right? Like, even if we look at real life modern history, even if not even empires, just look at like World War II. Like, I think people could say, no, I don't think people would just say it's been a few years since Hitler went, was taken down or whatever, since the Nazis were stopped. No, I think you would give an exact number. You'd be like, yeah, it's been 3 years.
Yeah.
Like we were living in a very scary time. Things are better now. Like, it's very weird to me that they would just say several. It sounds like a nitpick, I know. But to me, it's just silly. It's like why wouldn't you state definitively, it's been 2 years or 3 or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they really want to give us anything because, they made it very clear in their expanded universe that they were still cleaning up. Like right after Return of the Jedi, they were still cleaning up the Empire, even a couple years after. So I don't think they want people to question, like, oh, well, where was Hera? Where was Ahsoka? Where was Sabine at all this time? And I don't know.
Yeah.
But, it also begs the question, well, what made them stop searching for Ezra and Thrawn if it was so important to Sabine and it was so important to Ahsoka? If Ahsoka knew that Thrawn was such a threat, why did she stop looking? If Ahsoka felt like it was such an issue, and actually, I can't remember his name, but who popped in here last week, asking about like what if there was a Jedi Order, stuff like that, and if you're watching, at any point, great, but it really did stick with me. For a little bit. I was actually thinking about it the other day. I would be so mad, but I wouldn't put it past them if they did the whole Jedi Order thing in a different galaxy
With Ahsoka?
with this show, and they have Thrawn use the Force. I don't know. It just popped in my head.
Is he like the new Sith now in a different galaxy?
God, I hope not. But
I mean,
I wouldn't put it past him. It just stuck with me. I'm like, please.
Well, that's how they talk about him too. Like in episode 3, one of the things they say, I think we have reason to believe Thrawn could be behind this or whatever. And the senator says, no, like Thrawn's dead. He's been missing for years. And then I remember they were like, well, somehow, but he can return, or he would something like that.
Somehow,
and it's like somehow Palpatine has returned.
Somehow Thrawn is alive. Somehow this takes place several years after the Empire.
It gave me flashbacks to Rise of Skywalker. It's like somehow these villains keep returning.
Somehow Sabine is going to use the Force by the end of this goddamn show. I swear to fucking God, they're gonna do it. And it's going to piss me off. They already hinted at it. You saw when she, now we're into fucking spoilers. But, she's got the cup over here, and she's just, trying to use this, doesn't move. By the end of the show, at the very least, it's going to move like a little bit. Just like a centimeter, like.
Well, I'm also. It's confusing for me. I mean, I haven't watched the shows, but it's a little confusing for me. Is that the general impression I got from the first 2 episodes was that she did know how to use the Force. Like she trained with Ahsoka, I guess back in the day, and they might have had a falling out or something. But now episode 3 says that no, she has no idea how to use the Force, and in fact, even they even say that she's like the worst bad one you ever had or something like that.
Right.
So I'm a little confused. Again, I'm kind of a normie when it comes to this stuff, but I'm a little confused. Like, so she never trained in the Force, or she never trained to be a Jedi.
So
in the past, because that's the impression I got in the first 2 episodes.
I don't remember what she did. I want to say maybe she trained a little bit in like fighting, but never like how to wield the Force, how to use the Force or anything like that. So I'm very confused about that.
Because like I said, the impression I got was that she had Jedi training, but like she walked away from it, and then now she wants to restart her Padawan journey.
Right.
But then in episode 3, it's like, well, you're good with fighting because of your Mandalorian training, but you don't know how to use the Force.
Right.
And so I was kind of like, okay, I guess.
Well, anyone can use the Force if you train hard enough.
Oh god, yeah, that's the biggest thing that was getting to me. It's just like, yeah, anyone can use the Force. You just got to be disciplined enough to work on it. And it's like, except no. That's literally not how it's ever worked. As much as they want to get away from the prequels, I get it. Oh, the prequels, whatever. Man, midichlorians say suck, whatever. Like, there is a definitive answer as to who can use the Force and who can't.
Right.
There actually is, as much as people might not like it, an actual explanation as to what it means to be Force sensitive. It also explains why Jedi were looking for, new babies who were Force sensitive to train. They didn't just train anybody.
Well, yeah, otherwise, the Jedi would never have gone extinct after Order 66. We would just have a new line of Jedi. Otherwise, if this was legit how it was, where anyone could train, why did they wait around for Luke? Right? Why did they wait around for Luke?
Yeah, why not train anyone else?
And after Luke went against Yoda's warnings to save Leia and Han, Yoda's just like, there is another, And we're not talking about fucking Rey. He wasn't talking about Rey. Rey was never in existence. I hate that shit. Don't ever bring up Rey in the fucking comments or anywhere. I swear to God, you will be banned immediately.
Yeah, the Force wasn't even awakened in her yet.
Yeah. So we're not talking about fucking Rey.
Plus, I don't care what anyone says, there's only 6 Star Wars movies.
Yes.
There's 6. It'd be nice to see it would be nice to see a sequel trilogy. I would love to see what happens with Luke and Han and Leia after, I don't know, 30 years later, let's say.
Yeah. And no, we're not talking about and that includes fucking Rogue One. And anyone who wants to talk and say Rogue One is so good, name one character without looking up. Name one character that isn't Andor.
Or Darth Vader, of
Or
course.
Darth Vader.
Yeah. No. Rogue One is so good because of the last, 5 minutes.
Oh, God.
The last, 5 minutes. The entire, 2.5 hours? Who cares? But the 5 minutes at the end.
Dude, it was so good. Actually, I had a great time watching Rogue One. Actually, to the point where I couldn't hold my excitement in. Uh-huh. And because I couldn't cope with how excited I was watching the movie, I fell asleep. I passed out.
As you were experiencing the movie, you wanted to dream about it, too.
Right. Yeah. I just started closing my eyes, and I was still listening to the movie, and I was imagining it.
That's how into the movie he was.
Yep. It's true.
That's what a sad reality. Imagine, I don't know, even 10 years ago or 15 years ago, imagine saying that. I fell asleep during a Star Wars movie. Mm-hmm. In the theaters, by the way. We're not talking about on the couch.
My kid self. Telling my kid self, in the future, you were going to fall asleep watching this stupid movie.
Yeah, you're going to go, day one of the release, you'll, Star Wars, and then fall asleep during the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, your kids will be like, what? No, it's Star Wars. What, are you kidding me?
even after I explain the premise of the movie, what happens in the movie, yeah. What a sad day.
I know we're so negative, but I'm sorry, but you bring up Star Wars, it is what it is.
Yeah, and honestly, I really hate Disney for all this. So I guess we can talk about the the training portion of the show, of the episode. Remember where she had like the visor and everything? Clearly not a reference to another Star Wars movie that was so much better than anything they've done. Which seems to be their go-to thing. They want you to remember the old stuff, while at the same time giving us shit.
Well, that's also the only way they get any kind of viewers.
Yep.
Because again, I'm maybe a bit of a normie when it comes to the shows, but like if you ask anyone what do they remember about Mandalorian season 2, realistically, it's like, what do you remember? The Luke scene, of course, and what I guess Ahsoka. That's kind of it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the whole it wasn't bad, but I mean, it also wasn't great. It wasn't memorable.
I remember the Mandalorian being a terrible father, letting Baby Yoda literally do whatever he wanted, and getting in trouble. I remember that. I don't necessarily remember the story. I just remember who was in it.
So I mean, I just remember Luke showing up. That was cool.
I remember. Oh, do you remember when Gina Carano was in The Mandalorian?
I do.
I remember that.
Whatever happened to her?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're still trying to figure that out. I don't know if they want to get a new actress to play her.
Why? What's wrong with Gina Carano?
Well, I think she just didn't want to do it anymore or something.
She just voluntarily left.
Correct. Yeah.
Nothing, no drama there.
No.
Nothing at all. Pedro Pascal, though, still doing the voice, right?
Yeah, he's still doing something in there. Which, by the way, I know people say Pedro Pascal is a good actor. I don't think he's necessarily bad, but after seeing him in The Last of Us, you could tell he brought some of his Mandalorian mannerisms into the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he just seems so uninterested. I don't know if it's just because we never see his face, but he just looks so bored. Everyone in that show looks so bored. I don't know, sidetrack. I'm getting sidetracked, but...
Yeah, sidetrack. Even The Last of Us show wasn't too good.
No. I couldn't even finish the first episode. And a lot of people say the first episode is really good.
Brutal.
Yeah. So, Sabine, she's training, which I hated it. I hated watching that. The whole visor thing. I thought it was so dumb. Yeah. I guess it's really not.
Yeah.
It was just like...
But there was a couple little things I was just like, I don't understand. Because, like, even like they said, like, oh, she's like the worst Jedi Padawan ever. And then Ahsoka's just like, well, I don't need her to be a Jedi. I need her to be herself.
Right.
And it's just like, but what does that even mean? Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I know it sounds silly to me, but it's just like, but you're a Jedi. Even if you don't, like, identify with, like, the organization itself, but, like, you still practice the light side of the Force, right? Like, that's pretty much what a Jedi is. They still synonymously use that as Jedi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny. It was just like, oh, I need her to be not to be a Jedi, but I need her to be herself. And it's like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It was just silly to me. I was like, I don't understand. Like, I guess is she never going to use the Force? But they kind of hint that she's going to learn it eventually.
Yeah, no, she's going to move that cup at least. Yeah. And then, I don't even remember how they got into it. I guess they ended up getting attacked. I guess they found them or something. Is that what happened?
Oh, God. Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah. Well, they were... I don't even remember. Ahsoka and them were flying towards that like ring. I remember that.
Yeah.
Right, and then they were being chased beforehand. I guess they just got found. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Who knows? I was too distracted by what's her name, the robot that can't blink.
Shin Hati, I think her name.
Shin Hati. We checked both separately. She doesn't blink the entire episode.
The entire episode, she doesn't. Now, okay, so I'll be a little more fair and be like, okay, well, she was concentrating on trying to shoot at Ahsoka, specifically at Ahsoka, not at the shit that she was standing on, which we'll get into, by the way. But in all fairness, I will say maybe it is because she was flying. She was trying to not lose
even
concentration.
I can't do it. Sure, I can't even do it. I'm blinking out.
I don't even.
I was trying to not blink, but I'm not a robot. I don't know how she does it.
Yeah, but
no, she has so much emotion in her performance.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't even have time to blink. That's how impactful her performance is.
Right.
Also,
that one Night Sister chick, that old lady, I guess she was in The Mandalorian at some point, but I don't remember her in The Mandalorian.
I don't know.
I might have to look that up, but yeah, my friend's about to die. I could have sworn I thought she was just a new character, but apparently people are saying that she wasn't. That she was actually in The Mandalorian.
Huh.
I don't know if it was in Season 3, because I didn't watch Season 3, so I don't know.
Oh, you didn't watch Season 3 with Lizzo?
No. No.
Oh, come on. I heard it's so good, right, guys? It's so good.
Yeah, she was in She was in Season 2. She was in Season 2. I don't remember her in Season 2 at all.
I don't know.
I guess she got captured. I think it was a big part of the episode that she was in. She got captured or something. I honestly don't remember.
That's how forgettable the show is, realistically.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just it's. Oh God, let's get to.
What about I'll say, how about I think you're going to transition right to the part where
she gets on the ship.
Yeah, where the ship stops working or whatever. I don't even understand what happened. Like, why didn't it just explode? Did they shoot?
I think
something. I guess they damaged it.
I think they just disabled it or something.
Because I thought they just blew up, and I was like, oh shit, I guess they're dead. And then they were fine. I don't. But maybe they just shot something. I don't know. But they damaged the ship, so it's doesn't have power or whatever, and they're trying to fix it. And so Ahsoka I'm going to buy us time. Because remember, their ship is drifting. And they have, 2 or 3, enemy ships, chasing them. Or shooting at them.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ahsoka steps outside in her little astronaut suit. with her dual lightsabers.
Yeah.
Or her 2 lightsabers. And, you can, how do you feel about that?
I don't know how to feel. I mean, I think it's stupid. So, here's the thing. She's standing on the wing of this ship.
Uh-huh.
And she doesn't... she's not going anywhere. Right? Literally, this ship is the only thing that she has. And, so, why don't these fighters just come up and they start shooting directly at Ahsoka, who is just a tiny target, just a little target, on top of this ship, which is a much bigger target. I guarantee you, if they blew up that shit, Sabine would die, right? Obviously. Mm-hmm. And Ahsoka would just be adrift, and it wouldn't be anything, They could probably just leave her at that point, and if she would run out of air eventually if she tried to force her way to the fucking planet that was right there.
Just
she
fall
would
into
just
the planet.
she would just fall into the plant and just burn.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's much you could do.
Because yeah, she literally stands on the wing with her lightsabers, like deflecting, the bullets,
Right.
or the blasters, I should say, the blasters, and she even takes one of them out. Because that's something too. In the vastness of space, for some reason, these ships have to be like an inch away when they shoot. For some reason, they can't just stay back and just shoot from a distance, where, of course, Ahsoka wouldn't be able to hit them. No, they have to fly right into her, so she, cuts the one and it blows up or whatever. Yeah, it felt reminiscent of the Rise of Skywalker,
Right.
in my opinion, where they were riding those space horses.
So, I have heard the argument that, because, how she is, she's like standing on the ship and she's doing flips and cartwheels and shit and somehow landing on the ship. And I have heard arguments about, like, oh, well, maybe she's using the Force to, like, attach herself to the ship. And, like, I'm open to that idea, and I thought about that. And you can't, like, to be completely honest with you, I thought about Leia in The Last Jedi when this was going on, when she was in space. Because when she, like, ends up going adrift, I thought she was just going to use the Force to pull herself back. Doesn't happen. So, you can't even use the Force as a viable excuse to pull herself back to the ship because she never tries it. She never does it. She's just like, hey, are you done yet? Whatever. And then she gets the ship back online, and she rotates the ship so Ahsoka could land on the wing of the ship. So, you can't really use the Force as, like, an escape here. You can't really make it make sense here. And it just looked terrible. It looks awful in live action.
Yeah, and like you said, like, she eventually, I forget exactly what even happens, to be honest, but she, like, starts drifting out into space, Ahsoka, while Sabine is still working on the ship. And she finally gets it on, and then Ahsoka's like, hey, pick me, like you said, come pick me up, or whatever. And Sabine flies around and, picks her up. But it's just silly, because it's like, so she's not using the Force, then, to pull herself towards the ship.
Right.
Like you just said. So, again, not to reiterate, but like you said, so when she's doing flips and whatever, how is she still landing on the ship? I mean, it's space. You would think, why not just float away?
Right. And they don't... I truly don't believe Filoni understands Star Wars the way everyone thinks he does.
Yeah, I think he reiterates or regurgitates what George Lucas tells him, but he doesn't like you could tell he doesn't understand it, because whenever he makes his own input, it's dumb.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you saw, there was like an interview where him and Jon Favreau were like going back and forth on, like, is Luke a Jedi, right? And it's just like, yes.
Yeah.
Like, Dave Filoni was trying to argue that he wasn't a Jedi yet, and Jon Favreau was like, preface, at the end of Return of the Jedi, was Luke actually a Jedi?
Right.
That's the argument. Jon Favreau was saying yes, Dave Filoni is saying no, and they were like, going back and forth. But it's just stupid, because it's like, yes, he obviously is. Like, Yoda even tells Luke, like, you are the last of the Jedi. He tells him straight up.
Yeah. Last of the Jedi you will be. And, oh, well, that doesn't actually mean anything. It does. I mean... And
So
not to
be it.
mention...
So be it, Jedi. Not actually, though.
Yeah. Not to mention, though... And, like, even Luke, when, like, in that moment, he was just like, I'll never turn to the dark side. Throws his lightsaber away, and he's like, I'll never turn to the dark side. You failed. I'm a Jedi like my father before me. It completely negates everything then. And not to mention, I mean, what are we supposed to take from this, considering George Lucas himself said Ahsoka died in Order 66, which explains why Ahsoka wasn't around during the fall of the Empire, during the rise of the Empire, during all that, Completely explains everything, because she died. She fucking died there, and Dave Filoni, of course, after Disney took over, Dave Filoni was just like, well, she actually didn't die because Ahsoka's just so powerful.
She's the bestest ever.
And she fights Darth Maul, and you fuck off.
You know? Keep in mind, she was also, technically, I think her voice was in The Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
yeah.
I mean, at some point, because this is years before in the timeline, but at some point, she's going to either, like, communicate with Rey through the Force, or she's dead, but she's communicating through the Force. I don't, I guess we'll see what happens, but...
Well, that's the thing. So, like, it was all the Jedi who died, right? And when people were like, oh, so Ahsoka died, Dave Filoni was just like, well, that doesn't actually mean she died. It's like Dave Filoni just simps for this character. I get it, you're proud of a character that everyone seems to like now, but you're not. It's not good.
Yeah. Well, and a good storyteller, I think, knows when to say goodbye to a character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember, a little bit of a sidetrack, I guess, but I remember George R. R. Martin. He wrote the Song of Ice and Fire books. That's the Game of Thrones is based on. I remember he did an interview once, or someone asked him, like, "Oh, do you regret ever like killing a character in the the Red Wedding and stuff?" And he even said, he's like, I don't. He's like, it's always sad when I have to kill a character because like I love these characters. They're all in my head. I have all this story, but he's like, I don't regret killing them because it serves the story. Like this is their time to go.
Right.
Like you have to think about almost like the greater good in a sense when it comes to the story. Like we have to tell the story. Meanwhile, sometimes you got to say goodbye to a character you love.
Yeah.
I think same thing with Ahsoka. It's like, you said George Lucas wanted her to die during Order 66. I think that would have been really impactful.
Right.
So much better than anything post Revenge of the Sith.
Mm-hmm. And so when they brought her back in Rebels, I was actually kind of looking forward to it because I knew she was going to fight Vader at the end of the season. It was season 2. And I was actually kind of looking forward to that because I'm like, oh shit, he's going to kill her. He's going to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been cool if he actually did kill her. But he doesn't. So basically what happens, they have this huge fight. And I don't even remember exactly what happened, but the temple caves in on itself. And everyone thinks she died. Vader leaves or whatever. And then, like, by the end of the series, by the end of the episode, you see her walking down some stairs or something. And, like, just being like, oh, she didn't actually die. She should have, but she didn't.
Should have. Well, that's again, I didn't watch it. But I think that's the scene where Darth Vader has like his the missing piece of his helmet, right? Like his eyes showing or whatever.
Yeah.
And the wheezing breath or breathing, which they're always recreating.
Yep. We were talking. I wanted to bring this up before we got sidetracked, but we were talking about the voices that Rey hears in Rise of Skywalker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you knew this, but they used both versions of Anakin for like because I don't know. I mean, you didn't watch the show, so you wouldn't really know. But I ended up looking because I wanted to make sure that I heard that right. But they actually used Hayden Christensen says a line for the movie, but they also got Matt. I think it's Matt Lanter, who voices Anakin in the Clone Wars series. So
that's so awkward because, like, in the movie theater, you hear two distinct voices. You're like, okay, like that's Anakin, but like you said, if someone watches the show, it's like that's also Anakin.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's a little weird.
So I never understood that. It just seemed like they just wanted to do it just to do it. And if that was the case, why didn't they get? I can't remember his name. The guy who voices Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars series. Why didn't they get him as well? Because they got Ewan McGregor to voice a part. Why didn't they? Or same with the Yoda. Like, why didn't they get Frank Oz and the guy who voices Yoda in the Clone Wars series.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like why didn't they do
I
that?
mean-
Same with Mace Windu. They got fucking Samuel L. Jackson. Why didn't they get T something Carson? I don't know, the guy who voices Kratos. You know, he voices.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, he voices
That's cool.
Mace Windu in the Clone Wars. Why didn't they get him? You know.
Yeah. Well, even like in the sequels, I mean, they also had. They took Alec Guinness's line where he says like "afraid," and they
Ray?
cut it up to say "Ray," which like again like it's kind of weird because like yeah, I guess it's cool to hear Alec Guinness's voice, but it's just like it's just weird because we already know Obi-Wan is of course Ewan McGregor at this point.
I don't know. A lot of people don't catch it, but you know, in that sequence of the movie, you do hear Alec Guinness go "Ray" or whatever. But like when she's done, like the moment the vision is done and she falls to the floor, you can hear Ewan McGregor voice a line saying, "These are your first steps." So it's like you got two people here. So I never understood any of that. You should have just. It's just for fan service. It really is, and it's not serving the story at all.
And fan service is fine sometimes. You know, like it's fine, sure,
Yeah.
but if that's like all you're relying on, there's a problem. Of course, you know.
I can't even see. How am I supposed to play? I hated that. It was
I know.
almost line for line.
I was waiting for that little droid, that little flying droid to come out and like shoot the little lasers and you have to deflect it.
Yep.
I was waiting for it.
I thought about that too.
Maybe that'll happen later on.
I don't know. Have you watched the Robot Chicken Star Wars episodes?
Yeah.
Every time I see that scene or that scene's referenced, I always think about the one part in the episode where he's like, "Oh, I can't even see. How am I supposed to fight?" And then Obi-Wan's just like, and then like kicks him in the nuts. He gets back up. He ignites the lightsaber. He's like swinging it around. He waits a little bit and just kicks him in the nuts again.
Oh, Robot Chicken's so good.
So funny. But yeah, I don't even know. Oh, but I would like to talk about Ray Stevenson that shows up at the end of the episode because he's like the only character I care about. I think I genuinely think he's a cool character. He's actually kind of interesting, but he was only in it for like a line at the end of the episode. But I think he's a cool enough character, and just like any cool enough character, he's gonna die. He's gonna die in the stupidest way too.
Yeah. I feel like the chick who never blinks is probably going to kill him.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's so unfortunate that like I feel like he's such a good actor, of course, rest in peace. And like his character seems menacing but like mysterious and interesting. But I feel like the timeline I feel like it's kind of weird. It's like we don't know yet, but I just feel like it's weird to like is he like a dark Jedi or like what's like where does he even come from? You know what I mean?
I think he was once a Jedi.
Like he was a previous Jedi during like the Clone Wars.
I think so. Either that or she was, but I think she's too young. No, I think it was him that was once a Jedi.
Okay,
if I remember right.
Was he? Did they say that in the show or no?
I think they did. I think they might. I think he might have said it in like the first episode or two.
Oh, I might have blacked out.
Yeah, I really don't remember. I mean, to be fair, I was on my phone for like the first episode.
Because I was going to say, like, I don't even understand where this guy came from. You know what I mean? Because, Luke hasn't even you can't even make the argument of like, oh, well, this was one of Luke's students who ended up turning on him or something like that. You can't even use that argument because it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is several years after episode 6.
Yeah, several years.
So I guess Ben's probably not even born yet. Or if he is, he's like just born.
Right. I mean, we don't know because it's been several years.
Several years.
Yeah. How many years? Several.
0 to 5.
0 to 5. Maybe 8.
But we can't finish talking about the show without mentioning what is it? Space whales.
Were they in this episode?
Yeah. They were flying around the big whales.
Oh,
or at least one of the whales.
That's right. Yeah.
Which again, same thing. I'm kind of a normie when it comes to the shows. I don't know, so like, I just found that so weird. I was like, wait, what? I took it
Purgles.
as
They're called Purgles.
Purgles, because I took it as like a kind of a fan service-y, like, oh look, space whales again, but I don't know what they are. I have no idea why they're. I don't even understand how they exist. Like, how do they breathe?
They have the ability to shoot into hyperspace. I guess that's kind of how they're able to use like their light speed or something. I really don't know. I don't remember. But
I don't know.
They were. I think they were introduced in the second half of season 4 of Rebels. So like they were just kind of thrown in. I can't remember if it was season 3 or season 4, but space whales are stupid. Shouldn't be in there. I don't know why they were in this. It was like Free Willy in space, I guess. I guess that's what they were trying to get at. Mm-hmm. But it didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole show... So how many episodes? Is it 8 episodes it's supposed to be?
It's supposed to be 8 episodes.
We're not even halfway. Oh,
no,
God.
We're not.
Yeah, not gonna lie. It's a rough show. I mean, even little things like, I'm all for, female representation. You want to have more female characters. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's like, what, 1, maybe 2 male characters? I mean, I think there was 2 male senators and the bad guy.
Right.
That's kind of it. And it's just like, again, not the end of the world, but it's just silly to me that it's like, I don't know.
Now it's all female centric.
Yeah, like it's because you got Ahsoka. What's her name? Sabine? I always forget. Sabine. Who's the other chick? The green one.
Oh, Hera.
Harrison.
Which, by the way, did you pick up on her son?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. I forgot. Yeah. Her son's running.
She has a son. So.
Was that in Rebels?
Yes, he was shown in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
Did you pick up on his name?
No, I didn't listen.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I did. Oh, wait. Jason, right? Is that his name?
Do you know how they spell it?
Oh, is it?
Jacen.
Like,
Jason Syndulla.
Like the EU.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Ain't that something?
So, they did that on purpose. So they don't explain it at all, but Kanan and Hera are actually like a thing, So
okay.
Kanan being the Jedi in Rebels.
Okay.
He and Hera have a child together. He looks nothing like what Hera should look like,
yeah,
right?
I was gonna say I'm a little confused because the kid looked like a normal human.
Yes.
But Hera's
so he
green.
he has slight I'm gonna pull this up. Yes. So he has slightly bigger ears in he has slightly bigger ears in the Rebels show. Oops. Let's see if I can pull up an image. Oh yeah, I guess there he was. So that. So, I hate. It's so funny to me because this is another reason why it doesn't work in live action because he is such a cartoony character. Look at his fucking ears here. He's supposed to have bigger ears, which they clearly had him have longer hair to cover his ears. I think this is him. You see what I mean? They covered his ears because he's supposed to have a bigger ears because he's. And I don't understand why. Why wouldn't they just make him look kind of more like Hera? I feel like that would make more sense but they made it so he's like kind of a hybrid. He's kind of.
I mean, kind of. He just looks like a regular kid with like greenish
green hair. Yeah. So.
And she's literally green.
Yeah.
With like, what, tentacles or whatever on her head. I mean,
they couldn't even. Get rid of this. They couldn't even have it so he was green. They couldn't just give him green skin. You know what I mean?
Like with something. I mean,
yeah, like okay, the tentacle things or whatever. Okay, fine. If you don't want to do that, like if you want to make it more like okay, he's half human, he's half Twi'lek. Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But make his skin green or something. Why is his hair just green? It doesn't make any fucking sense.
To me, I think that was a budget issue. I mean, we don't know, but to me, it just seems like it's much easier to just be like, hey, make his hair green.
Well, no, I disagree with that because they could have easily because his first appearance was in Rebels.
Actually, you just showed that. So yeah, I guess that's true.
So
so I guess they kind of just. I guess he's always like. Yeah, I guess that's true. He was always like that. It's maybe not a budget thing.
Yeah. It's so dumb. I don't understand why they decided to make him look like that, but they did. And actually, I forgot they had a kid together. I honestly don't remember that at all until sometime before the episode, I think. But I don't know, man. It sucks.
It's funny though that his name is spelled like Jason Solo from the EU.
Yep.
Because, I mean, you could maybe say like, oh, it's kind of like a little Easter egg or whatever. But to me, it just shows that they're aware of the EU. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, obviously, but like, they're aware of some of the some of the characters that the fans loved.
But
beloved characters.
Guess what? He wants to be a Jedi.
Wow.
Yeah. So they're probably going to make him a Jedi.
So Jason S, because his last name
Jason Syndulla.
Same, so similar to Solo. So a Jason S, who's son of a Jedi, is going to become a Jedi.
Yeah.
Watch he goes through the same. Watch he goes through similar things in like the books.
Oh God. Yeah, they really.
I doubt it, but who knows?
Yeah, for a studio that wants to come up with their own stuff, they seem to really want to rely on the old stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought that was the whole point of erasing the EU. Now it kind of makes it pointless to erase the EU because now you have nothing to go on. Do you realize? Like, I don't think they realize how much money they would have made if they made a film trilogy of the Thrawn trilogy. If they made the Thrawn trilogy in film, if they actually adapted those books, they would have made so much fucking money. And people would have been there for it. People would have loved it. Maybe not everything. Mm-hmm. They probably wouldn't love the cloning. I think, what was it, Luke that gets cloned or something?
Yeah. Do you know his name? Do you know the clone's name? I don't know if you...
No.
It's Luke. It's Luke with 2 U's. It's Luke.
Luke. Hey, you guys.
But yeah, no. But I agree, especially when like the EU was so beloved. Like they could have kept the book. You could have made more books, and like you said, adapt some of the books. Into live action. People and shows. People would love it.
Yeah. So beloved. Oh, my dearly beloved Star Wars.
Dearly beloved.
I just loved how you said that. It was so beloved.
It was so good.
It was so beloved.
Gone.
Where art thou?
Where art thou? It's like poetry, okay?
Yeah, it's like poetry. It rhymes.
I don't like sand.
It's coarse and rough and irritating.
It gets everywhere.
Everywhere.
But yeah, why? Oh, why?
We didn't even finish we didn't really talk about the ending. Because essentially they just land and these assholes lose them. Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't even remember. They just... It's like 29 minutes of just them flying around, trying to avoid getting shot, and then they lose them, and I think that's pretty much it. Then the bad guy's like, alright, we'll get them.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
We'll get them next time.
It's like, alright. Yeah, it's because you fucking retards don't even know how to shoot at a ship. Like, I don't think they realize how it would have been game over for Ahsoka. Blow up the ship. All right, where's she gonna go? You literally could just blow up the ship and then leave. Be like, all right, I gotta go.
Well, it's like episode 1 and 2, like we were saying, where it's like the very start, right? The they're shooting at that dark Jedi guy, I forget his name. They're shooting at him, remember? And he just puts a lightsaber in like one spot, and it keeps shooting at one spot.
He just like jerks it up a little bit.
Yeah, it's like he barely moves it to block stuff. It's like, come on, man! Like the old movies, at least he would they'd move it around because they're getting shot at multiple directions.
Yep. Hell, I think even Vader in Rogue One was moving around a lot more than he was,
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't want to talk shit about Ray Stevenson because I think he did a good job with the character, so far at least. I think he's the most interesting person there, and I want to see just him. But yeah, and I don't necessarily think it's his fault. I think it's just how he's being directed. I mean, same could be said about George Lucas. Same has been said about George Lucas's prequels. How the direction wasn't very good, the writing wasn't very good. I mean, if you were to read the script for Attack of the Clones, do you really think you could read those lines well? You really can't.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, like the he was always his dialogue was always very clunky and awkward. But in the originals, like he had the actors kind of check, because they were more experienced. At least Harrison Ford, especially, was more experienced. Yeah. So he kind of would check them. He'd be like, "Hey, man, this sounds stupid. I'm not going to say this," or "Hey, I'm going to change up the line a little bit because I think this sounds better." Like he had that kind of checks and balances.
Yeah.
Versus the prequels, I mean, most of the actors weren't really established. You know what I mean? Like most of them were young who didn't really. Mm-hmm. Of course, you're a young actor playing in Star Wars. Yeah, you're gonna do whatever George Lucas says, right? I mean, of course. I don't blame Hayden Christensen. He did what was asked of him.
Yeah. And I don't know. It's just. Yeah, this show wasn't good.
Dearly beloved.
Dearly beloved.
I mean, beloved. But yeah, even not to get too sidetracked, I was just gonna say, it just sucks they got rid of the EU, especially when they try to kind of bring it back, but not really. Yeah. Like Rise of Skywalker is very similar to Dark Empire. Yeah, if, anyone knows that, and there's a couple other little things they are you can see they're trying to bring in.
So there's this, I can't remember what the game's called, but this Star Wars game coming out, and the one character is Jalen, instead of Galen Merrick, it's Jalen Merrick.
Wait, really?
Yeah. With it.
I think you might have told me that actually, Jalen. Yeah.
I'd have to watch the trailer again, but it was Jalen. She called him Jalen. I hated that.
That's right, I remember that now, Jalen.
But regardless, I mean, I think, and the fact that they want to reuse this character, that's another EU character that they want to bring into their canon, and Sam Witwer is playing that same character again. He's also playing an unknown character in Ahsoka.
Yeah,
and the character that I personally kind of expect it to be. His name is Marok. So it's Merrick, Marok. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. It could be something stupid like a clone of Luke.
That's kind of what I'm leaning towards, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like Starkiller, I don't know, it'd be cool, but I don't know if they would do it. They might. But I'm kind of leaning more towards that. I could see Luke. I could see the face reveal, and it's Luke. Yeah. And Ahsoka's what? And then that's the end of the episode, and then we find out what happened.
It's either going to be Luke, Starkiller, or Ezra. It has to be one of
that's
those
true.
three. It has to be one of those three.
That's true, because they're looking for him, so, like, that's another big reveal.
Or maybe they want to do a clone of... I guess there is a fourth one. They might want to do a clone of Kanan.
I mean, well, they also... I mean, I think Hayden Christensen's also rumored to come back, right? So imagine... imagine that. They clone Anakin.
Yeah.
I don't... that one I don't actually believe, because that would be...
That'd be kind of stupid.
I mean, it's Disney, so we don't know. But I think that's a little too far-fetched. Yeah. I don't see that happening.
It's so funny because it's like we're literally figuring out, like we're just trying to figure out how stupid they're going to be with this show. You know? Yep. Like it's so unpredictable at this point. It's like we know it's going to be stupid, but like how stupid is it going to be on a scale of 1 to Anakin fighting Ahsoka? How stupid is this going to be?
And it's so true. It actually makes it unpredictable.
Yeah,
it's like your general mindset is like you try to think about what's possible, and then you stretch it. Like, okay, can this happen? Can this happen? And at some point, you're like, this is crazy. They wouldn't do this, but we don't have that ceiling because it's Disney. They'll do whatever they want.
Right, and yeah, what if? I mean, Sam Witwer has played Darth Maul. He has voiced Darth Maul. So, like, what if it was Darth Maul? A clone of Darth Maul.
What if it's Mace Windu?
Oh God, yeah. Well, there are people wanting Mace Windu to return. Mm-hmm. And I think that is very possible at some point. It's not going to be in this show. I seriously don't think it'll be in this show.
What if it's what's his name? Cal Kestis,
right
from Jedi Fallen Order.
I just got that game, that new one.
The
Jedi Survivor. Yeah, I just got. It's fun to play, but like I hate the story so far.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, I was pulling off some pretty sick moves, but it's stupid. I don't like it. They killed off some of the diversity.
What?
Like at the very start of the game.
Oh, we got a ride on that one. I don't like that.
Yeah. The cool female character who's kind of the leader, she dies immediately. She dies almost immediately when, like, after meeting her. It's like, fuck. I wanted more diversity. I want to see. I know you want to see yourself, and it's like.
How much were you crying? Were there tears in your while you were laughing? I mean, crying.
No, I was crying. It was awful. There's a term often used in comic books called fridging.
Fridging.
Yeah. Where have you heard of this term?
I don't know.
Okay, so fridging is where they kill off a female character to further the male character's plot. So, from what I hear, the term started as kind of like a meme almost, because I guess in a Green Lantern comic, and I can't remember if this is right, but in a Green Lantern comic, I guess there was a girl. I don't know if it was like the main chick that he falls in love with or what, but one of his girlfriends in the comics, he's looking for her, and I guess he finds her dead in a fridge or something like that.
Wow,
he finds her dead in a fridge, and so like that the term fridging became a thing.
Fridging.
I don't know if it was Hal Jordan or what's the
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was one of them or I don't remember who it was.
So when MJ fell down when Gwen fell down the clock tower and bashed her head.
Fridging.
Oh, fridging.
But people got so upset about that, so now that's like used in a negative light because you can't kill off a female character. You can't kill off the main male character's girlfriend because that's considered fridging and that's bigotry or something.
Sure. It's not like that's never happened in any movie or show or game ever.
Right.
You kill the spouse or, the main love interest, whatever. Never happens.
Right.
Literally never.
So what's the term if it's a male character, or if it's the main female character's boyfriend or husband or whatever?
Good story.
Yeah. Yes.
Is it any female character? Like, does it have to be like they're dating? 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, what
So
about,
I think it's supposed to be like if they're dating. If basically if it's a female character who dies to serve the plot of the male main character.
Because, like, The Last of Us, at the very start, right, when Joel loses his daughter, I mean, that's fridging?
I guess.
Because, I mean, technically...
I don't know if it has to be...
counts.
I don't know if it has to be, like, the girlfriend or what, but, I mean, I guess in a way that would be considered fridging, so, if anything, Neil Druckmann is a bigot. He's actually a sexist.
Yes.
So
that's true, though. What is the term for the other way? Because in the second one, right, Abby killed Joel.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the term for her then? Because that's freezering.
Freezing. Yeah,
well, the freezering.
Freezering. Yeah, I have no idea. They're all idiots. These people are idiots. But yeah. Any more thoughts on Ahsoka? I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, we've pretty much covered it. I mean, this is episode 3 of 8, so we still have
5
more.
5 more fucking episodes.
And I am pretty sure that when we get that reveal for... What's his name? Marok? Is that his name?
Marok.
When we get the reveal for him, almost guaranteed it's going to be disappointing.
Yeah.
And or we've already guessed it.
Yeah.
But who knows? Maybe it's someone else. Maybe it's something... No.
Yeah.
Like I said, I personally, I think it's probably a clone of Luke. That's... Because it seems like they're bringing Thrawn back, and they're kind of going down the Thrawn trilogy books. That seems to be where I think it's going.
Mm.
Either him or Starkiller. That's the two options, I think. But I mean, you never know. It could be Ezra. Could be could be a clone of Anakin. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the big question now is: have you seen Equalizer 3?
No, I have not. How is it compared to the other two?
I thought it was okay. I genuinely think this is... It was a very underwhelming film. I watched it last night. I watched the first two back-to-back. And then I ended up watching the third one last night. And I really like the first two. I think they're good. I think they were really good. This one... It doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of action going on. I just feel like there's just a bunch of events, and Denzel Washington's just there.
Huh. That's disappointing, because after John Wick 4,
yeah,
it's like you would think, action movies in general would like pick up on that and be like, hey man, you got to step your game up, right? John Wick really crushed it, so...
I don't think it... And maybe I just need to watch the movie again. It just felt different from the other ones. It didn't feel as engaging as the other ones. So basically, this takes place several years after Equalizer 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess he's living in Sicily now. He's living in Sicily, just kind of doing whatever. So it starts out with him. He was captured by these guys or something. He was in the basement or whatever. And this old man, he has this kid in the passenger seat, and he's driving. They're driving past these like dead bodies, and And to be fair, this intro was pretty cool. It actually was getting me. I was like, oh shit. But they're driving, whatever, and he tells the kid, wait here, and there's a guy waiting for the old man, and he's like, yeah, we got him downstairs, whatever, blah blah blah. And they go downstairs, and Robert, that's Denzel's character, Robert McCall. Robert McCall. So they got him downstairs, and he's in a chair. They have guns pointed at him, whatever. And basically, they're like, "Oh yeah, you fucked up." And he's like, "No, you." And so he starts attacking them. He starts fighting them. He kills everybody in the room practically. The old man gets injured really bad, and dude, Denzel's got fucking shotgun. He's like kind of banging it on the ground, like tapping the shotgun on the ground or whatever. As the dude's going away, he's kind of torturing him a little bit, but then he ends up killing him. Goes upstairs, and he's about to leave, and he sees the kid there, and the kid's about ready to move, and he pulls the gun out. He's like, "Don't move, don't get out of that truck, do not do it." Like pointing this gun at this little kid. He's like, "Don't do it. Stay right there." And he's like, "Okay." And the kid's like, "Okay." And he just keeps walking, and then all of a sudden, you see the back. There's like a shot behind Denzel, and you just hear a gunshot, and he's just like freaking. He immediately, as soon as the gunshot goes off, he takes his gun up, and starts shooting up in the air wherever. He turns around, and he sees the kid standing there with a shotgun. And he's pointing the gun at the kid. And he's like, "Get out of here." The kid drops the shotgun and runs away. Then he sits down. Apparently he did get shot or something.
Okay.
And so he hits the ground and, whatever. And then title card, or no, I think the title card came up before all that, but yeah, he gets in the car. He drives off, and he starts bleeding out. A cop finds him, takes him to a doctor, and the doctor fixes him up. And this is all spoilers, by the way. But,
in case you didn't know.
but yeah, he's basically trying to get back to health. He's got a cane now, and Denzel's kind of showing his age, which is kind of sad. He's looking pretty old, but yeah, he's got a cane now. He's not really doing much. He's just trying to heal, and the whole movie, it felt to me like he was just there. I guess he was just talking to others and having a great time while they have the. The doctor calls him what we would call the mafia. I can't remember what the name is for them. He's like, but yeah, they're basically the mafia for Sicily, and they're terrorizing these people in this town, and he's just getting to know all these people the whole time. But that's kind of the gist of the movie. He's just kind of hanging out. There's a girl that likes him. He likes her back, and it's just him talking to these people and having a great time with these people. But at the same time, there are moments in the movie where he does defend them. He does help against these people, but it doesn't feel like the other ones where he was actually like a badass this whole time. It didn't feel like that to me.
Yeah, that was always cool in the other ones where he would just click his watch. He's like, 10 seconds. And it's like, what does that mean? He just kills everyone. He's like,
yep.
All right, yep, 10 seconds.
Okay, Yeah, he does that once in this movie. He doesn't really do it a whole lot in the other movies, but I don't know. It was a little underwhelming. Now, I will say the movie is beautifully shot. I think a lot of the shots in the movie were really fucking good. It just seemed very underwhelming to me. I just felt like there was more they could have done, I guess. Mm-hmm. It wasn't as engaging, in my opinion, because at the end of the last two movies, it was kind of nice because you see him kind of help these people, and it's supposed to be kind of like an emotional thing. There was some emotion behind it. There was this dude in the first movie who was overweight, and he was trying to be a security guard. And so he was pushing him, hey, what are you eating today? He's got a sandwich. He's like, oh yeah, it's just a ham and cheese or whatever. He's like, yeah, it's super healthy. And then he's like, okay, take a bite, and bites into it. It's got a crunch to it. he hid some potato chips in there, and he's like, "Come on, dude." You know,
Mm-hmm.
and by the end of the movie, he becomes a security guard. He actually kind of helps him in the final fight and everything, and it was kind of nice. He saves those people, and he kind of changed their lives.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, kind of the same thing. He's somewhere else. He gets this kid off the streets and has him do some hard labor, which was nice, and kind of changed his life a little bit. Steered him on the right path. There was an old man, because he was basically an Uber driver, and there was this really old man who survived the Holocaust, and he was talking about how he finally has proof that, whatever this person has that's mine, that's trying to auction this off, like, I have proof that it is mine, that I can take it back, and whatever. And so he's struggling with that, and he started talking about how he hasn't seen his sister since then, since they got separated during that time. And like, by the end of the movie, the dude's just like, the one caretaker or caregiver for him, it's just like, look, I have something, I don't know who did this, who found out, but there's someone here that wants to see you, and it's his sister,
Aww.
And like, they're crying and everything. It's such a nice moment. I didn't feel that with this movie. It's like, the people, all the bad people died, and they're celebrating, but it didn't. I don't know. It didn't have that emotional weight, which I don't really need that emotional weight, but it just felt like they made another movie just because.
Yeah, especially with the other two having it, so it's like, it kind of sucks to not have it now.
Yeah, but I don't know. It was fine, but I didn't love it.
Yeah.
So, if I don't know, I don't really think I should rate it. Really, it was okay.
What's your order of the trilogy in terms of like rankings?
From best to worst, 1, 2, 3.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the first two a lot. The first one was probably my favorite. I just had a lot more time. I had a lot more fun with that one because it's just so cool. And each movie has some really cool, like, oh shit, that happened kind of moment. In this one, there was a part in this one where he pretty much threatens all the mafia guys, and he was there. They were all having dinner, and this was after, like, I think he he broke into the cop's house and was terrorizing his daughter and wife, and he was beating him up in front of them. And he comes home, and they're there, and they start beating him up. And so, like, a little bit later in the movie, they're all like at this restaurant eating, and they show up, and Denzel's there, of course. He's just like sitting there, and he's like, they're like talking shit on this guy, like, oh, how you feeling, buddy, whatever. And like, they're just kind of playing with them, toying with their emotions and everything like that. And they're looking kind of scared, and Denzel's just there, just watching them. He doesn't even say anything. The dude turns around and looks at him. He's just like, "You got a problem?" He's like, "No." Or I can't remember. He's just like, "So, why don't you stay out of my business?" Well, when you start bothering other people, it does start to become my business. Just like start talking shit. And the dude walks up to his table, and he's just like trying to intimidate him. Dude fucking like grabs hold of him, like kind of holds his arm back, like he's about to break his arm, and he's just like, or he put like pressure on his hand or something. He's like, he's like pressing down really hard, and he's like, see this is a 2 or something like that. He's like, this is a 2 or a 3 or something like that. This is just before you're about to cry. He presses even harder. He's like, this is when you're about to cry. This is a 4. Now you're about to start tearing up. And then he's about to press it. He's like, you don't want to see a 5. He's like, a 5, you're going to start shitting yourself. He's like, I know you don't want that, and they don't, and your buddies over there, they don't want to clean that up or something like that, you know. Just like, he's like, tell them to wait outside. And you know, he's like, get the fuck out, get the fuck out. And so they leave or whatever, and like he just kind of humiliates him in front of everybody. So he lets him go, and they're all just kind of waiting. There's this van that they have, or this car that they have, like an SUV or something, and the one dude's kind of there. He's just sitting in the car, you know. He's keeping the engine running, and you know the other guys are just talking, whatever, just talking, basically saying like, we need to kill him. Well, who is he? Whatever. And the one dude is kind of walking around. I think he was trying to get in the car or something, or no, I think he was just walking. He was trying to cross the street or whatever, and that car that was sitting there just fucking bam and hits him, and like it takes him down the hill with him, and then fucking smashes him up against the wall and kills him instantly. And they look inside. They look inside the car, and the driver is dead. So, and then you just see Denzel just walking away.
He's just like,
I thought that was so cool.
Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know.
That was cool. So there are cool stuff like there are cool moments like that. But yeah, it was like kind of that shock value, like, oh fuck. You know,
it just hits out of nowhere.
Yeah, and the thing, I like that director. I think his name's Antoine Fuqua. He's a good director. He did Training Day. He also did Olympus Has Fallen.
Wow. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Those are good movies.
Tears of the Sun. He's done some good movies. So I was kind of disappointed, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know. It just seemed like they were just trying to do it just to do it. I think this might be his last action role or something like that, or his last movie or something. But I saw he was lined up for Gladiator 2. They're making a sequel to the Gladiator movie with Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're making a sequel to that. And apparently Denzel's in it. But yeah, I thought it was okay. It was just underwhelming for me personally.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, I don't know. I guess it kind of sucks because like the Equalizer's a pretty cool series. I mean, I only watched I think the first one and parts of the second one, but I mean it was pretty cool. You know, it's pretty cool, pretty action packed. You know,
Yeah.
Of course, the main character's a badass, and I think there's an Equalizer show. I mean, it doesn't have Denzel, but like, isn't there?
Yeah, it has Queen Latifah.
Yeah,
Queen Latifah's the Equalizer, and
I don't know how that works. I mean, is that like is it a reboot, or is that supposed to take place in the same?
I have no idea. I didn't know it was a thing until they finished the season.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I was like, is this a reboot, or is this part of it?
I don't know if it's supposed to be a reboot, because I don't know if you know this, but The Equalizer was actually a TV show back in the 80s. So, yeah. I didn't know that until my dad said something when we were watching the first movie, like way back when. He's like, "Oh yeah, it used to be back then. Instead of him getting an email, he would just like go in and he'd get like a ticket or something." I don't
really?
remember. Yeah, you know, because it was the '80s. But yeah, he was telling me that. I was like, "Oh, I didn't even know." I'm like, "What movies?" He's like, "No, it was a TV show." I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that."
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I remember my dad said that, and I was like, "Oh yeah, they have a new show." He's like, "No, I mean, you know, back in the day." And I was like, "Oh, I thought it was just a new concept. I didn't realize it was based on anything."
Yeah. So now the question is, who do you think would win in a fight? Okay, John Wick, Robert McCall, you know, Denzel and the Equalizer, or the Punisher?
Man, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm gonna have to go with John Wick.
Yeah.
Only just because, like, he is... I mean, especially in the fourth one, he kills, like, 700 people.
Yeah.
Like, all at once, and there's... Yeah, I don't know if there's anyone that could actually beat him in, like, a one-on-one.
Yeah, I mean,
So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, probably.
Like unless they like really get him, like really trap him, you know, and catch him off guard or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with John Wick on that one.
Yeah, maybe.
What was Liam Neeson's character in?
I can't remember his name, but yeah, in Taken.
Yeah, that was always an argument too. It's like, oh, what if he was thrown in the mix?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely. It's just the thing I like about Denzel's character in The Equalizer. He's like so strategic. You know, like he's just like very. He'll wait you out. He'll. What's cool is the first action scene in the first movie is like right when he's you know, because he's basically threatening these guys. It was so cool because like the dude at his desk, he had like 3 glass skulls, and like he picks one up and sets it in front of the one dude sitting at the desk, picks the other one up, sets it in front of the dude that's standing right by the desk, and he just like picks up the third one, sets it down right next to him. And he walks away. They're all talking shit, making fun of him, and he's just standing there for a little bit. He like opens the door, closes it, opens it, closes it, opens it, closes it, and then I don't know why he did that, but then he just locks the door, and they're like, "Hey, you forget something?" You know, they're just making fun of him. He just turns around, and like you could see in his view, he's just like looking at what everyone has in their hands. He's like looking at everything. And he's like looking on the shelf to see what he can use there, and then he just fucking goes for it. He like, because there was a dude sitting down right next to him, right where he was standing at the door, and like he looks at his gun, and like immediately he like picks something up, throws it, and fucking grabs the dude's gun out of his hand, just shoots the guy in the neck, and then just fucking kills everybody right there. Just like picks the bottle off the shelf, kills, you know,
linking things together. Like, okay, I could use that for him.
Yep,
that
I love that. That was so badass. And I don't think they did that once in that movie. Where like, because in the first two, they did that where he was kind of like analyzing, like scanning the room to see what he could use. They don't do that, I don't think, in this movie, like at all. So it was kind of like disappointing. So it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
But I thought it was kind of mid.
It's not bad,
that.
right? I
mean,
at least that's
I didn't
good.
think it was bad. I'd have to rewatch it, I guess, but I was a little disappointed. But it is what it is.
Oh well.
Yeah. But anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, I think that's pretty much it for now. Just
yeah. So
gonna have to watch Ahsoka.
Kind of a slow news week, I guess. But yeah, that was fun. So guess we're just gonna end it here. Anything you'd like to add?
Just that, you know, you're lucky that I'm here. I am, you know, good looking. You can't kick me out this time. No.
Anyway.
No, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
can't wait for next week.
Yeah, absolutely, and hopefully you're not here.
Yeah, hopefully you're anywhere else.
But yeah, we'll have to do this. This is another one in the books. I think this one went a little longer, right? I don't know. My eyes aren't very good, so I can't see how long it's been. But...
almost 2 hours.
Oh, really? About the same time, I guess.
So yeah.
So yeah, that was Trash Talk episode 3. I guess we'll probably start a little early. We wanted to keep the 4 o'clock, but you know, things. I mean, Sundays are Sundays, so it's, you know, things are going to come up, and I don't necessarily want to do Sundays all the time. I might try to switch it up and do Saturdays if we can, but if not, it is what it is. Just a lot of moving parts in both our lives, so there's that. And if you're watching after the fact, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hello. I can't end this shit.